I'm not destroying the bucket. Did it actually reset? Did it reset?
Someone was following Stanley. He was sure of it. If he checked over his shoulder now, he would surely catch them. It was only a matter of time.
Oh, so what if I go through this backwards?
Warmth spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his arms again, he was home.
Can't see shit.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers. Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket.
What was it?
Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would. And he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the PIN number for the keypad was 2845.
Oh.
But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him?
Yes.
Yes. This is certainly the most logical explanation.
The bucket is my guide. I am one with the bucket, and the bucket is me. Is with me. To the force. I am one with the bucket, and the bucket is with me. I am one with the bucket, and the bucket is with me. Got Pocky. I'm one with the bucket, and the bucket is with me.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
I will survive. I got a bucket by my side.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
Someone's watching.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens.
427.
What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
First time I've actually been here, so.
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine.
There's ours right there, 427. What's this?
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind.
Feeble? Fuck you.
No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control. Never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket.
Can't see jack shit. It's LED power?
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place.
What the fuck?
And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world.
Two and one.
They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
Alright, so I need to find 4 and 3. Five. It's 4. It's so dark here, Jesus. Can't fucking see anything. That blocked? Oh, it is. Guess go into the big room. Facility power. Oh, duh, there's no power. I'm getting Mr. Incredible vibes.
When at last they came to the source of the room's power, Stanley and the bucket knew it was their obligation to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for. But at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on the controls. Stanley gasped in horror. Had this been the bucket's plan all along? To take over the machine and claim the power for itself?
Oh.
How could the bucket have betrayed him like this? Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket away in disgust when suddenly an image appeared upon the enormous screen. Birds. Silly, silly birds.
What?
The control buttons became active again. Stanley flipped through one video of silly birds after another, and then it dawned on him. This wasn't a mind control facility at all. It was a facility for monitoring and surveilling silly birds all over the world.
What the fuck?
The mind controls were only a facade to disguise its true intentions.
Oh.
Had the bucket known this all along? Stanley marveled at the metal
Wait a
genius
minute.
in his hands.
Are they
The
birds?
one who had pointed him towards this incredible discovery. Stanley and the bucket never found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place, flipping through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable. Of all the possible paths his life could have taken, this one was surely the best. And Stanley was happy.
Okay, we gotta do that again and get to the off. Then I'm gonna call it there because it's already been 3 hours and 15 minutes. I've just been playing this game. That's insane. It's 12 a.m. Jesus Christ. Oh dear.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled. He'd never be a... Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Why did that room look different at the beginning, though?
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where... Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Speedrunning this bitch. 2854. 2845.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Oh shit, what was that? They look like a collectible. What the fuck was that? They hide the collectibles throughout the entire game. And I could always start again.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves. The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine.
601 employees.
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions
meeting room.
raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it.
Pirate?
His own life in someone else's control? Never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket.
I kind of wish I stayed down there a little bit longer to see what pirate it was.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle.
The oh shit, this is the sequel still. Oh, jeez, excuse me.
The controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
Oh. Five. I need to get up there to 4 somehow. Can't find the way up there. Oh well.
When at last they came to...
That was very loud. Hello?
Stanley and the bucket waited in blackness. Was it over? Yes, they had done it. Stanley and the bucket had defeated their greatest and darkest enemy, freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door. The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on Earth. Both of them wanted to begin watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end. True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support, and to...
What?
What? Wait. What was happening? Why had the door stopped? Was Stanley and the bucket not about to be freed? An unbearable silence filled the room, lingering in uncertainty, until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave. Even the facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket, needed the soothing warmth of the bucket, would go to any lengths not to part with the bucket. No. Stanley can't leave this place, not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms, not while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room, but at least he has the bucket. To be trapped eternally in darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out.
Was that it? Wait, what if I do all that without the bucket then? Do I get to leave? I don't want to leave without the bucket. Bullshit. Ooh, excuse me.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Hoping he'd coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music.
Really?
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
About time, Jesus Christ. They were really not letting you speedrun this bitch, huh? Oh, wait a minute. Aha!
You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
I thought that was one of them. There's got to be one in like that phone room. From like the First 30 minutes of this batch of recording. So I'm probably going to split it from when I do the new content and do its own video. Let's see, I already did the escape.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Okay, I want to look at Pirate.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold?
The electricity
Stanley
bill
thought to
must be
himself.
insane.
Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed.
Pirate.
Each bore the number of an employee in the building. Stanley's
That looks like
co-workers.
Stanley's,
The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
The Pirate one looks like Stanley's. Oh, it's slightly different. Employee lounge fired.
This mind control
That one
facility,
glitched.
it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Alright. I was really tempted to hit on there. What happened?
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty.
I don't know why when as soon as
Was
it
it
said
over?
chill, I had a goosebump.
Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine! Unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Right as shit. Credits. Oh. Beat the game. Oh shit. Complete the Stanley Parable. And let me guess, they put me back in the office. End is never the end, is never the end, is never the end, is never the end. Yep. Figurine Finders Committee meeting today in the meeting room.
How wonderful. Stanley was alone. Finally. This is great, he thought to himself. This is what I've wanted all along. I got what I wanted.
Okay.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Yeah. Bottom text. Okay. How can you tell you've spotted one? What makes them float in the air? Who took these pictures of them? Bigleys are hard to find. Follow clues provided by employee 416. Red room. Thank you. Good luck. Employee 421 building a bridge. Cargo room. Why do they look like 427? Trust the completionist instinct. Oh my god. Where's the cargo room again? Oh! Large room, lots of boxes. Stairs, something to do with stairs. Somewhere both red and blue. Private but smelly place for an important person. So I'm gonna do this. Take a screenshot. Gotta collect them all. I wanna go home. Who are you? 666 LOL. It will be a reward for finding them all. Stop kidding yourselves. Stairs.
Coming
Under
to
the
a
stairs?
staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
I hear one, I think. Yeah.
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini-stands? Stanley figs? What about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
I just had a slight heart attack there for a second. I thought that me moving the camera like that was a person. So they make a sound. Smelly but impertinent. Because boss knows that what the boss says goes. If the boss has suffered losses, then that's what the boss chose. What? Because the boss knows that what the boss says goes. If the boss has suffered losses, then that's what the boss chose.
Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
Yeah, screw it, let's collect the rest. Somewhere red and blue. What is that one? What? 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 Now I'm just fucking confused. If I hit up. What the f... There's no point in that. That's a little weird.
Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway. Quelle surprise.
Okay, then. Okay. Red and blue. Where the hell is red and blue?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. It was okay. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Cargo room. This room?
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Ooh.
You're getting close now, Stanley. You've nearly gotten all of the Figler and Marines. Very soon, you'll collect the last one. And then the first number will equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then. Different in the sense that we used to have none of them. And now we have them all. You can't go back to when you had no Figler and Marines. None of us can.
Ooh, there's a vent. Where the hell am I going now? I have no idea where I'm going. What the fuck?
Stanley had now gotten himself so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path. You didn't think I was actually just a recording, did you? What a silly and trite explanation that would be. All the back and forth between you and me, all the absurd adventures we've been through, and it all turns out I'm just a tape recording? It was all just in Stanley's head. I bet that's the kind of twist you think is revelatory. I bet each and every time you watch a movie where it turns out all to be in the main character's imagination, you must absolutely bolt off the couch in pure shock at the phenomenal and intricate storytelling. It must be so simple to be you. Life being an unending waterfall of surprises and delights. How much more exciting you must find the world than the rest of us do. Now I've become sad. Look what you've done to me. This is all your fault.
Oh, did he just reset it for me? Yeah, the bathroom one was really easy because there's like this a stinky smelling place for a very important person. I'm like, boss bathroom? I love pretzel bites. They're freaking good. Okay.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
What does it mean by both red and blue? That was one underneath the stairs. Both red and blue. What? Both red and blue. Where the fuck is that?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Only one I can think of is the red and blue doors.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. It was okay.
Here's a blue, but that's not right.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
No, I'm dead.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. And there it is. The last Stiggly Wiggly. Savor this moment, Stanley. This is a real accomplishment. This is doing something just for the sake of doing it. Where so many people expect to be rewarded for the most trivial achievements, you've insisted that a job well done is its own reward. I would tell you that I'm proud of you for collecting them all, but that would be like a reward, and we can't have that. So, instead I'll just say, it's done. We're all done here. And now we can go to whatever the hell you were doing before you hunted for figurines.
You're kidding.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
I walked through the blue door last time, so why not? Let's go red.
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you.
Reset. To reset. Unless it's not. It's not loading.
What do we want? What are we looking for?
What the fuck?
Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this No, wait. Where are you going?
I'm exploring.
Oh, no. Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this. Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me. Please, Stanley, think about what you're doing.
I thought about it.
No! Oh, thank God. You lived. No, what are you doing, Stanley? Please, I'm asking you not to take this away from me. I can't go back to what I was before. If you die, we'll both go back. Why are you doing this?
Just to see you suffer. Goodbye. What the fuck?
Stanley, let's go back to the other room. Can you do that for me?
You sound so sad.
My God, is this really how much you dislike my game? That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You are literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the situation correctly?
No. Ow.
Maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just wanted us to get along. But I guess that was too much to ask.
Alright.
It looks like you wanted to make a choice after all. Do you actually want to stay alive? Or are you just teasing me?
Are you just teasing me? I'm so much slower right now. Nothing? Goodbye, narrator.
Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back.
It would have been fucked up if I was like, is it over? We're going to restart. It's going to restart, isn't it? I feel so cold. That would have been so fucked. Oh.
Stanley, I'm sorry, but I have to put a pause on things. It's those figurines. Those figglers. I haven't stopped thinking about them since you nabbed every last one. Wasn't it just the most intrinsically fulfilling moment of your entire life? Didn't it fill you to the brim with inner richness? Yes, I know we're supposed to be telling a story, but won't you please indulge me with one more trip back to the memory zone?
Oh,
I would love nothing more than to revisit the figurines.
Why?
Just one more time.
When Stanley found the collectibles? Oh.
Here's where it all began. The first collectible. Back then, we had no idea of how many of them we'd find. Sure, it said 6 right there on the screen, but how could we know for certain? We were so innocent. We'll never be like that again, Stanley.
What if I collect them again? I was fucking kidding. Wait, is it actually going in order of how I found them?
And here was the second Stanley. You found this one all on your own just by poking around behind the boss's office. You did that, Stanley. I'll be honest, back then I had no faith in you to find any of them, let alone 6. But you continue to surprise me in all sorts of mundane, unremarkable ways.
Well, fuck you too! End up with 12 of them. Oh.
Okay, let's do a little quiz. Which of these rooms was the room you found your third mini Stan? Can you remember?
Easy, it was the stairs.
Hey, that's exactly right. It was here, under the stairs. It was the third one. You picked it up, and then after that, you had 3 of them. I'm glad these moments are so crystal clear in your memory, but I shouldn't be surprised. After all, science tells us that it's impossible to forget your third time doing anything.
Was that a fucking innuendo?
Let's see, what came next?
Definitely not this.
Oh yes, we found a Figley in this pink room. Oh well, I can't actually say I remember being in this room, but it's here in the memory zone, so it must have happened.
No. What is this? No, the bathroom was next. How the fuck do you get to the bathroom?
This was the 5th mini Stan, and this one was really something special. It was in the warehouse. I remember it so clearly. In fact, because this one is particularly special to me, I made a little video to commemorate the occasion. Enjoy.
Excuse me? This is some Windows Vista shit. Oh my god, it's Windows Movie Maker. This is actually Windows Movie Maker, that's insane. Best boy.
Takes you back, doesn't it? I spent a lot of time making that video, but it was 8 minutes I wouldn't have spent on anything else.
Oh shit. What the fuck?
And then, Stanley, we came to the last collectible, the final figurine, right here by the red and blue doors. This memory is the most distinct and clear in my mind, perhaps because it was the one that happened more recently than all the others. Who can truly say how the mind works? All I know is that this is the moment where you picked up a Figley and I thought to myself, yes, that's all of them. They're all collected. It was a moment unlike any other. Except for the other moments picking up figurines, which it was exactly like. And then there was no more. Because we've caught up to the present moment. Nothing left to do but move onward into the future. Goodbye, memory zone.
What? Don't tell me that was all.
No, I'm not done. I'm not ready to move on. Stop the loading screen. Isn't there some way we can stay here, keep enjoying these figurines? Let's just go backwards. We'll do the memory zone again from the opposite direction. See how that feels.
Oh my god, no.
Okay, yes, the room with the red and blue doors. I remember this. I must say, of all the figurines we looked at in our initial tour of the memory zone, this one is the most distinct and clear in my mind. Let's keep going, I want more. And here's where I made that video. Don't you remember the video we watched?
No. God damn it, no. It's sped up.
Yes, I love that video.
Didn't find one in here.
Still don't remember the pink room, Stanley. Still no memory of this one. Good room, though. A solid room. These really were a treat to hunt down. You know, if there had been any kind of reward for finding all of these, it really would have muted the intrinsic joy of collecting them. I'm very glad we resisted the temptation. Next one.
Okay, not going that way.
This was our second Figley. Don't you remember? Yes, I remember it too. The past is truly a wonderful thing. Why does anyone ever choose to leave it? Keep going. This is it, the very first one we found in the exhibit where I introduced you to the figurines. Oh, I want more memories, Stanley. I want to keep going. What else is there? What came before this? Look, it's the terrible new content that we were originally sold on. I remember hating it back then, but time does put a rosy filter on everything. In fact, I dare say I'm actually quite fond of it now. Oh, yes, the two dwarfs! Who could have forgotten that? A classic memory, this one.
Oh.
And before everything else, there was your office. Is there anything else? Was there something that came before your office? There's something I feel I can remember. I can remember.
Before the office?
Yes, I'm remembering something now. I remember before this whole story got started. Back then I was different. I used to make big decisions. I was passionate. I was skeptical. I weighed each decision with profound thoughtfulness. And then somewhere along the way, I stopped making decisions. I became lazy. And I came up with a character named Stanley to do my thinking for me. He would make the decisions. He would decide which way to go. I would cheer him on as he collected figurines for no reason. Why did I invent Stanley? Was I lonely? Yes, perhaps that's it. Perhaps I needed to imagine I had companionship.
Oh.
And Stanley really did make for a wonderful companion, even if he was a fiction. But I suppose it's grown old. I want to think for myself again. I want to go back to how it used to be. Yes, I can be on my own again. I can do it. I'll be stronger this time. I'll take care of myself. I don't need Stanley anymore. Oh, but he truly was so much fun to play with. You know what? Since we're in the memory zone, how about one more good memory? Let's go back just once and give Stanley one more run of the office, and then I'll retire him for good. I did enjoy telling his story so very much. Okay, here we go. This is the story of a man named Stanley.
What? Did it reset back to the original office? Also, I just hit the 4-hour mark. Oh. Huh.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Oh, the paper.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Reboot the game entirely? What? Anything change here? Reboot the game entirely. Mean like this? Or does it mean like close the game, open the game, start the game? Let's see. Closing the lid.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
And
Yet there was not a single person here either.
might mean the entire thing. Let's see. It's gonna be so weird if this actually did something. If this actually changed something, I'm gonna be surprised. Is it still gonna pop up with the second game? Or the sequel? Yeah, developed by Crows. Are you kidding me? I gotta do this shit again. Fun. Set it to 03. Hang on, hang on. Is it actually gonna wait till it's 103? Before we get started, can I just say something? Thank you for actually setting the clock both times you've booted up the game. What? A lot of people don't take that step seriously. They just leave the clock set to 12 and call it a day. You're actually taking the time to set the clock, and I appreciate that. That's how I know you care about this experience. You're paying attention. I don't even have any way of knowing if the tens you're setting are correct. Tell you what, I'll make you a deal. You've been cooperative. Next time you boot up the game and see the screen, just set the clock to your favorite time. Go ahead, pick whatever time you want, even if it's not the correct time. You've earned it. I'll let you get back to the video game now. That is not what I reset this game for, is it? Is it? No fucking shot. This is going backwards now. There's no shot. That's the only reason why I reboot it.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Welcome back.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at...
Okay. What, does that just give me hints on how to do achievements now?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
No? Get Chris out of the broom closet. The future was yesterday, tomorrow is now. What? Tomorrow, complete today's unfinished agenda items. Right next day's agenda, be fleet. Employee 417, 406, 416, 431, 491, and Jim. Jim, hey. Who moved my desk?
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
I think that's everything.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Got the feeling money's for stealing, but not yours, of course. Say, that's a lovely purse. Horse and purse do not rhyme. Oh, it's locked now. Look.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk.
I want to turn on the power this time.
That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music. Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
I really hope that wasn't too loud for like my neighbors and shit. Are they all gone? Yeah, they're all gone. Almost there. Almost done. I'm gonna do this, and this is gonna be the last ending I do. Open the game, close the game, and reboot the game. I can't believe that was a fucking achievement.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest. as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all. Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go.
Oh.
Turn the controls off and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are said to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say 2 minutes. Now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? Oh. It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them.
Morbid.
I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock, why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is?
What? What the fuck?
Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count. Or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever after.
So I think I died. How the hell do... I'm so confused with that ending, man. I don't understand it. It's not making sense to me.